Okay, so we have been working on place value and looking at the relationship between numbers as you move from one place value to the next. So the past couple times we met, we talked about what do you remember about the relationship between the ones and the tens and the ones and the hundreds, and hundreds to thousands. Every time you move from one to the next, what do we multiply by? How much bigger is each place? Who remembers? Peyton?
10 times greater.
10 times bigger. So that's why when we were using our little discs and the dots on our paper, every time we had a group of 10, what did we do with that 10? We did something with that 10. Do you remember when we circled and bundled it together? We bundled the 10 together, and then we can move to the next place value. Okay, so number 4. Let's have Olivia read number 4 for us, please, about Katrina.
Katrina saved $200 to purchase her tablet. Her father spent 10 times as much money to buy his new computer. How much did her father's computer cost? Use numbers or words to explain how you got your answer.
So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to underline what's important here. So it's important to know that Katrina saved $200. Her father spent 10 times as much money to buy his computer. We need to figure out how much father's computer cost. So let's first talk about what's the gist of this problem? Who can tell me, without giving me any numbers, just what's this problem about? Is it about Chloe going to the store? Is it about Olivia going to a fair? Is it about Kelly needing to build a fence around her house? What's this story about? Nina? Do you know what the story is about, Nina?
It's about how Katrina saved $200 in her.
Oh, don't tell me anything, any numbers. I just want to know if you know what it's about. Katrina doing what?
Saving money.
What did she want to buy?
A tablet.
And what do we know about her father?
Her father spent 10 times as much money.
So, Nina, who spent more money on the computer, Katrina or her father?
Her father.
Very good. So you pretty much understand what the question is about. So if we come up with a number under 200 for the father, we should know that something's wrong. Okay, Tyler, go ahead and unmute yourself, and you're going to help me solve this one. How much money did Katrina save for her tablet?
$200.
Okay, so I'm going to write 200 here. Tyler, if her father spent 10 times as much on his computer, what are we going to do to figure out how much money he spent?
Times 10.
Very good. Times 10. Now, this must look like a huge number sentence, and it is, but I'm going to show you how we can make it easier. Tyler, how many zeros do you see here?
3.
I'm going to take 1, 2, 3 away, and I'm going to put those over here in my answer. So I didn't really get rid of them. I just moved them. Now, Tyler, I'm left with 2 times 1 equals what?
2.
Okay, so here, Tyler, you solved this big problem. What is 200 times 10?
2,000.
Very good. And we want to make sure we label it with the money sign. $2,000. Does anyone know where the comma goes? Peyton?
Right after the 2.
How do you know that?
I know that because you want to separate the hundreds, tens, and ones from the thousands, because the thousands has one greater digit than those 3 regular numbers.
That was a great explanation, Peyton. I think that's 10 times better than what I was even thinking. I was going to go with the old-fashioned, you start at the right and you count 1, 2, 3, and then put your comma. But your explanation was point on. He knows that you need to separate the thousands period from the hundreds. So that's why I would use that comma. Okay, so I'm going to scan through you guys. Are there any questions about number 4? Okay, so now we're going to move on to number 5. And what I really like about number 5 is we can translate these words into straight numbers. What's it mean if you're translating something? Think about a different language. If you took Spanish and I said, we have to translate this Spanish, what would that mean to you? What's it mean if you're translating something? Tina?
You make it so you can understand it.
Okay, and we're going to actually change it from one language to another, one that we understand. So, you know me, I'm the teacher in 4th grade that loves math, so I understand numbers better, and Mrs. Thomas loves reading, so she understands words better. So my goal is going to be to get all of these words out of here and give them numbers. So I know right here I have a number 4. So I'm going to keep this as a 4. Then I see this word times. I know that means X, a multiplication symbol. As much as 3, I just have another single digit. I don't even have to worry about tens, hundreds, or thousands. So I'm going to put 3 here. And the word is the same as an equal sign. So 4 times as much as 3 is means the same thing as 4 times 3 equals. Who knows 4 times 3? This fact. 4 times 3. Go ahead, Nina.
It's 12.
You are correct. So 4 times as much as 3 is 12. Okay, Olivia, I want you to help me with letter B. You ready, honey?
Yes.
Okay. Letter B, I see 10 times as much as 9. What number should we start with?
10.
Okay, and then what comes next?
9.
Well, we don't want to skip down. We have some
Times.
words here. Yep, times, and then?
9.
Good. All those words there. As much as 9 is just a simple 9. And then what does that word is? What symbol is that?
An equals mark.
Yep. Okay, Olivia, do you know what 10 times 9 equals?
90.
Excellent. Olivia, can you read this whole answer starting with the 10?
10 times 9 equals
As much. Read the
as
actual.
much.
There you go.
10 times as much as 9 is 90.
Very good. Okay, letter C. Let me see. Who have an I? Peyton, can you help me with letter C? $700 is 10 times as much as. Okay, now pay attention to this one. What are we going to start with?
10.
No, help me translate. We're going to start here. What's our first number?
700.
And then what do we put when we see the word is?
Divided by.
No, this is, look up here. When we saw is, it means the same as. So what symbol is that? I think you muted yourself, honey.
Equals sign.
There you go. Okay, and now Peyton, how do I write 10 times?
So you're gonna write 10 and then a multiplication symbol.
Right. And this is actually what we're missing. So now we have to figure out 10 times what gives me 700. What do you think? Do you have any suggestions, Peyton? How many times do you think we'd have to add 10 together to get the number 700?
It's hard to hear you because like my computer's lagging a lot, so it's hard to hear.
Okay. I'll try to talk up a little. Nina, what do you think? 10 times what equals 700?
70.
Now I'm going to do this over here just to check. I'm going to actually multiply 10 times 70. So I'm going to take off my 2 zeros, put them in my answer. 1 times 7 equals 700. I just wanted to do that to double check, and you are correct. So Nina, go ahead and read letter C, the word, the whole way down.
700 is 10 times as much as 70.
Very good. Okay, and we're left with number 8. Now we have a big blank. And I bet you if you've been following along and recognizing the pattern, this one won't be as tough. 8,000 is blank as 800. What do you think goes in here? So every time, you know, we've been talking about all the problems we've been doing, how many times as big as?
10 times as big as?
So let's see if that works. So if we have 8,000 is 10 times as many as 800. So Tyler, I'm going to put my 8,000 here. When we see the word is, what symbol does that represent? Look up here. Every time we use the word is, it means the same as. What symbol did we use?
Equal.
What, honey?
Equal.
Yep. So 8,000 is 10 times, put my X, as many as 800. So let's see if that works. We take off my 1, 2, 3 zeros, and I put them right here in my answer. I'm left with 1 times 8 equals 8. So this is true. 8,000 equals 10 times 800. I find it so much easier whenever I translate it into numbers. Okay, are we ready to move on to number 6? Okay, Olivia, go ahead and read number 6. Thomas.
Thomas's grandfather is 100 years old. Thomas's grandfather is 10. Wait. Thomas's grandfather is 10 times as old as Thomas. How old is Thomas?
Okay, let's go ahead and underline. Thomas's grandfather, 100 years old. Thomas's grandfather, 10 times as old as Thomas. How old is Thomas? Okay, so we have 2 characters in this story. Who are they? Olivia, who are the 2 characters in the story?
Thomas and his grandfather.
Who's older, Olivia?
Thomas's grandfather.
How old is Thomas's grandfather?
100 years old.
Okay, so Thomas's grandfather is 100. Do we know how old Thomas is? Olivia, do we know how old Thomas is?
What, baby?
No.
No, but what do we know about Thomas and his grandfather? How much older is his grandfather?
10 times as old as Thomas.
Okay, so we know that Thomas's grandfather is 100.
It is the same one I have.
That is 10 times bigger than Thomas's age. So here we translate. 100 equals, this is grandfather, he's 10 times as old as Thomas. Here's Thomas, he's our question mark. Who thinks they can figure out what the question mark is equal to? Nina?
It's is equal to 10
Why do you think it's 10?
because
What's your
you do 10 times 10. You can take the 2 zeros and the
Mhm.
1, and it has 100.
So Nina thinks he's 10 years old, and it fits appropriately. 10 times 10 equals 100. So Nina, how should we answer this question? Because we have to actually put an answer down, not just our work. How old is Thomas?
Thomas is 10 years old.
Very good. So we want to write 10 years old. I might even circle it so I know what my answer is. Great job. Okay, so I'm going to just stop sharing that and